November 23rd, 2025, Emirates Stadium. Eberechi Eze receives a pass from Leandro Trossard. He shifts the ball onto his right foot, fires. In that split second, 28 cameras capture his exact body position. His shot speed, logged. His expected goals for that attempt, a chance of 0.12. Time between his first touch and the strike, 1.3 seconds. Goal. While he completes his hat-trick, in a split second all this data is collected. By the final whistle, the data tells a story no human eye could see alone. Eze, 47 touches, 7 in the opposition box, 6 shots, double every other player on the pitch, and double Tottenham's entire team combined. His expected goals, 0.66 versus total goals scored, 3. Tottenham's expected goals for the whole match, 0.07. The lowest recorded by any Premier League team this season. 3.5 million data points harvested from 90 minutes of football. Your favorite player is now a walking dataset. Football has become a multi-billion-dollar data industry. StatsBomb, one of the main companies powering this transformation, generates approximately $590 million in annual revenue. The companies controlling this information are reshaping how the game is played, watched, and wagered on. But how did this sport become a numbers game? And what happens when algorithms start calling the shots? 1996, a London pub. A group of football obsessives started logging matches by hand. Every pass, every tackle, every shot recorded with pen and paper. They called it Opta. Back then, tracking a single game meant pressing buttons on a handheld device for 90 minutes straight. One person per team, eyes locked on the action. Primitive, exhausting, but wildly ambitious. That pub project now powers a multi-billion-dollar industry. Opta merged with Stats LLC in 2019 to form StatsBomb. Today, they cover over 500,000 matches annually across 3,900 competitions. Their database holds 7.2 petabytes of historical information. Second Spectrum became the Premier League's official tracking partner the same year, capturing the coordinates of every player and the ball 25 times a second. Genius Sports acquired them in 2021 for $200 million. Opta, or StatsBomb, alongside major data analytics firms like StatsBomb and Wyscout or Hudl, now control football's information infrastructure. Broadcasters, betting firms, gaming platforms, and teams themselves all feed from the same source. So what are they actually tracking? Physical output, distance covered, sprint counts, top speeds, acceleration. Technical performance, pass completion, ball recoveries, touches under pressure. Tactical positioning, defensive line height, pressing triggers, expected threat, a metric quantifying how players create danger even without touching the ball. The numbers are everywhere now. Amazon Prime overlays XG graphics during halftime analysis. Sky Sports builds entire segments around pressing statistics. Fantasy platforms update player values in real time. Betting markets shift odds after every touch. The market these companies created has exploded. In 2022, the global sports analytics industry was worth just $1.15 billion. By 2024, it had nearly quadrupled to $4.5 billion. Projections put it at $14 billion by 2030. Football is the fastest growing segment. Premier League teams have noticed. Most now employ analytics departments with 15 to 20 specialists crunching numbers behind the scenes. Some teams even have more. But collecting information is easy. The difficult part is knowing what to do with it. A handful of teams have figured that out and turned it into hundreds of millions of pounds. Brighton signed Moises Caicedo from Independiente del Valle for £4.5 million in January 2021. He was 19 years old, playing in Ecuador, invisible to most European scouts. 2 years later, Chelsea paid £115 million for him, one of the most expensive Premier League transfers of all time. That's a 2,400% return on a player who had never touched a Champions League pitch. Brighton have turned this into an art form. Marc Cucurella arrived for £15.4 million, left for £62 million. Alexis McAllister cost $7 million, sold for £35 million. Ben White came through the academy and went to Arsenal for £50 million. 4 players, total profit over £235 million. Their secret isn't scouting in obvious markets. It's finding players who outperform their statistical profiles in leagues nobody else is watching. South America, Eastern Europe, Scandinavia. Buy young, develop, sell at peak value, reinvest. In June 2023, Brighton posted a record £122.8 million profit, while finishing 6th and qualifying for Europe. They did it with the 13th highest wage bill and the 17th most expensive squad in the division. Meanwhile, Manchester United finished 15th in 2024-25 with the 2nd highest wage bill in the league. They paid players £171 million in wages. Brentford finished 10th, paying just £41.4 million, outperforming their budget by 9 league positions. Brentford's owner Matthew Benham made his fortune through Smart Odds, a statistical research company serving professional gamblers. When he bought the side in 2012, they were stuck in League One. Instead of outspending rivals, he hired quantitative analysts from his gambling operation to find inefficiencies in the transfer market. 4 consecutive top-flight seasons later, it's working. Liverpool took notes. In 2017, sporting director Michael Edwards pushed for Mohamed Salah when manager Jurgen Klopp preferred Julian Brandt. The analytics team flagged Salah's pressing intensity and finishing output, numbers that didn't match his underwhelming spell at Chelsea years earlier. Liverpool paid Roma £36.9 million. Salah has since scored 188 Premier League goals. Recruitment is half the equation. The other half plays out on the pitch. Anfield, May 7th, 2019. Liverpool trail Barcelona 3-0 on aggregate in the Champions League semi-final. No side has ever overturned a 3-goal deficit at this stage of the competition. Before kickoff, Liverpool's analysts delivered a report identifying Barcelona's defensive vulnerabilities: slow recovery runs when caught out of position, poor reactions to quick restarts, a high line vulnerable to balls in behind. Trent Alexander-Arnold's corner, the one Divock Origi buried to make it 4-0, came directly from those insights. Barcelona weren't set. The analysts said they wouldn't be. Liverpool won 4-0. They lifted the Champions League trophy 3 weeks later in Madrid. The following season, they won their first league title in 30 years. This is what analytics look like in practice. Days before fixtures, specialists map opponent pressing patterns, identifying exactly where those teams lose possession most frequently. Set-piece vulnerabilities get flagged. Which defender loses aerial duels at the near post? Tactical weaknesses get exposed. The gap between fullback and centre-back under high pressing. During games, GPS vests track every movement. When a midfielder's sprint output drops 20% from baseline, the substitutes warm up. When acceleration patterns decline after 70 minutes, managers know whether to chase a winner or protect a lead. The numbers have reshaped the sport entirely. In 2000-2001, teams averaged around 380 passes per game. By 2024-25, that exceeds 510. Distance covered per player has risen from 9.5 kilometers to nearly 11. Sprints per fixture have increased over 30%. Muscle injuries from fatigue have dropped roughly 15% since GPS tracking became standard. Coaches now know when players approach physical breakdown and act before it happens. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City average over 600 passes per game while conceding the fewest interceptions in the league. His backroom staff reportedly includes more analysts than most championship sides employ in total. Football in 2025 is faster, more precise, and more tactically complex than ever before. But efficiency has a ceiling, and spreadsheets have blind spots. Todd Boehly bought Chelsea in May 2022 with a plan: build the most analytically advanced recruitment operation in football. 3 years later, the results are in. Over £1 billion spent on transfers. Enzo Fernandez for £107 million, Mikhailo Mudryk for £89 million. Over 50 players signed across 3+ years. League finishes: 12th, then 6th, then 4th. 3 permanent managers sacked. The spreadsheet said these were smart signings, but they were missing something. Chelsea bought players who excelled in isolated metrics but couldn't function together. No time to build chemistry, no structure to develop understanding. A team assembled by algorithm. It's not just about buying the wrong players. Sometimes it's buying the right player for the wrong setup. Let's talk about Alexander Isak. The guy was excellent for Newcastle. He scored 27 goals in 2024-25. Liverpool paid £125 million for him last summer, their biggest transfer ever. The expectation, identical output in a better side. By December, Isak has 2 goals in all competitions. His movement, so devastating at Newcastle, looks hesitant. Newcastle built their entire attack around his runs. Liverpool asked him to adjust to patterns designed for different players. Same league, same quality, completely different results. Florian Wirtz tells a similar story. At Bayer Leverkusen, he was untouchable. 18 goals, 20 assists, German Player of the Year. His £100 million move was supposed to bring that form to England. But the Bundesliga gives players time and space. The Premier League doesn't. Wirtz went from dictating games to fighting for every touch. Numbers capture output. They can't measure how long it's going to take for a player to feel at home in a new dressing room, or whether he'll click with the striker he's supposed to find. The best sides now use both approaches. Analytics filter thousands of candidates down to dozens. Humans make the final call. Algorithms belong in football. The question is where to draw the line. It's not hard to imagine a 2030 where the Premier League's official tracking partner captures every heartbeat, every micro-movement, every blink on the pitch in real time. Clubs will run live AI models that predict the outcome of the next 5 minutes with 90% accuracy, feeding managers tablet suggestions. Switch to 3-4-3 now, plus 0.41 expected goals increase. Some owners are already piloting automated substitution engines that override the bench entirely. Scouting departments will likely shrink to a handful of humans overseeing algorithms that watch 40,000 games simultaneously across 200 leagues. A 17-year-old in Paraguay could be signed before his coach even knows he's world-class. Betting companies will offer in-play micro-markets on the next pass direction. Broadcasters will let viewers watch matches through the lens of any single player's live biometric feed. The question is no longer whether data will dominate English football. It's whether anything truly unscripted can still survive in a league that already knows what you're about to do before you do it. Subscribe for more and hit the notification bell.